This time I will call the August 27th, 2013 members of the Board of Supervisors to order. At this time, I'd like for everyone to please stand for our invitation given by Mr. Brad Simpson of the Woodville Presbyterian Church and remain standing for the pledge led by Danny McDaniel.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we're thankful this morning that you have brought us together for the purpose of this meeting. We thank you for our Board of Supervisors and others here in our county and our town who care for our community. We pray a prayer of thanksgiving for those who have come to this meeting to express their concerns, to express their questions, and to be here together to plan for the good of our community. Help our community to be a place where hospitality and compassion abound, where everyone cares for all people, especially those in need. I pray that you'll now be with our board as they continue to discern your direction, your will, and the best decisions that they can make this day. I also pray that you'll bless us each day with your love and direct us as we continue to be the people and the community that you have called us to be. We pray this in all of our prayers in your name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, I'd like to welcome everyone to today's meeting. We will start off with citizens' time. We have two citizens who have signed up that would like to speak today. The first being Ms. Linda Myers. Ms. Myers?
Good morning, gentlemen. I'd like to address internet service here in Wythe County. Most of us have CenturyLink, and it seems that most of us, as customers, we have very, very limited service, slow service, and so on, and we have called CenturyLink and gotten nowhere. So I did a lot of research, and I ended up finding out that we have what is called bandwidth exhaustion. They have oversold. They cannot keep up with it. I have called Better Business Bureau and so on and so forth, and they have told me that we should go to an FCC website and put in a complaint, and this way CenturyLink has to reply to them and so on. And I would like to know, or I was hoping that the county board as a board, or the county as our governing whatever, could also put in a complaint with on the FCC website concerning the bandwidth exhaustion that is happening here in Wythe County, because we're all paying for this service and we're not getting the service. So they have not offered to reduce their rates, which is, would you seem, if they can't provide the service, they would reduce it. But that hasn't happened. And just this past weekend in the paper, they're advertising for more. And if they can't supply services, they certainly shouldn't be doing this, and they should be trying to. And I've spoken to boots on the ground, the employees of CenturyLink, and they are well aware, and they know of the complaints, but of course the service people can't do anything about it. So I was wondering if we could have that done through the FCC.com website, a formal complaint.
We'll start investigating it and look and see if that can be done this time.
Okay, there's a whole pages and pages on Facebook concerning the lack of service. And of course, we're all still paying for this service. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Virginia Riggins from Max Meadows, who has some store price questions.
Yes, I was here, good morning, gentlemen, by the way. I was here 2 months ago and talked to you all about lowering the price of the deposit for the sewer project. At that time, you all told me that it would be taken care of, it was going to drop back down to $350 before the 27th, which is today. As of 2 weeks ago, my aunt received another letter stating that it was $1,000 and it had not been changed. I called Mr. McRoberts Friday. He said that you all had turned it into your lawyers, but nothing had been done as far as he knew at that time. What's going on?
I don't know what committee wants to that. You did take it from study, I thought it was.
Yeah.
Actually, I just got this morning, the finance director and the water director's been working on a rate that comes into the Water Committee. Matter of fact, as part of my presentation this morning, I want to ask for a 30-day extension of the connection fees, because we just got that information. I got it this morning.
So are you telling me that they're going to drop the connection fee from $1,000 to $350?
Did not say that. No. I'm going to ask for the board to consider a 30-day extension of that to the Water Committee. We can have a chance to present that to the Water Committee.
Because, I mean, that was supposed to have been done 2 months ago when I was up here before, because I specifically,
You asked for that.
Ma'am, you asked for that. We don't operate on that timeline. We operate on the best we can do.
yeah, because, you know, you all kind of assured me that it would be done before today.
No, I think we should, it would be looked at, and obviously, it's still being looked at, and we're not going to charge any fee until it's fixed.
Okay, so I don't need to pay the $100 deposit today. If I don't pay her $100 deposit today, they're not going to charge?
When my report comes up, the recommendation I'm going to have is provide a 30-day extension until the Water Committee has availability to look at what the Finance Director and Water Director will come up towards the rate. Then the next board meeting in September, if they recommend back to the board that it be lowered, then it will be lowered. If not, then it will be due and payable. It was a record. Mr. McDaniel, and you're correct, when you came last time, he referred it back to the Water Committee.
Yeah, he told me that he would.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, like I explained to them, you know, before and to you all, you know, we have so many people just right in that one little area, and that's not counting the rest of them, but right in our area within a half a mile of me, we have 8, 9, 10 people that I counted that's on fixed income. $1,000 is ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous for anybody, but especially for people on fixed income.
Well, the 1,000, there's a $500 capacity fee and a $500 connection fee. That's how the 1,000 is derived. They were working on that. And also the rate structure itself is what
So I don't know any more than I did when I got here.
No, except that you've got
What I was looking
This-
for, I thought we did too.
whenever they, you'll have another
In one of our
30 days.
Yeah, it's due today.
Yeah.
It is due today, the deposit. That's why I was asking you, is she going to be charged a penalty if I don't pay that $100 deposit today?
If the board takes my recommendation, no, ma'am.
I can't say that they will, but I would bet the farm that we will take that recommendation.
All right, I'm going to trust you.
Well, thank you.
If she comes up with a penalty for this, I will be back,
Expect you.
and I will not be happy.
If you'll sit
Expect
down
you
and
to.
just wait and be bored for a few minutes, we'll take care of it.
Okay.
I can handle that
Or
with
we
the
can-
agenda.
I
Or we
appreciate you,
can do it
gentlemen.
right now.
Listen to me. I said,
Well, ma'am, I tell you what we're going to do.
Just do it now.
I'm going to change around the agenda a little bit. And I'm going to ask, if you were the last citizen that signed up to speak, so if you will just have a seat, and we'll see what happens here in just a second.
I can
okay?
do that. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Now, we'll change the agenda. Mr. Dalton, do you have any recommendations based on from the water
Yes,
Sewer
sir.
Committee?
I spoke with Mr. Chris, fortunately, the county attorney was with me this morning. That we'd sent as part of completion of the sewer package, when it was finished with Graham's Board Phase 2 of it, I think it is, this was funded by VRA and DEQ to extend the 90-day connection fee period, additional 30 days, because the staff, we haven't prepared adequately the discussion to submit to the Water Committee, the rate structure, and also the connection fee. But we,
Okay, pardon me, but I understand, you know, the capacity fee. I know that we were talking about that, you know, but I thought that the recommendation was that the hookup be, fee be done, along the lines of the water hookup.
we did discuss that. As far as low income, it's that.
Right, I understand the low income, but I also thought, the initial, hookup was going to be the same as the water.
Well, in the ordinance, there's a means to calculate, and that's what they Actually, they sent it to me Friday afternoon, but I just looked at it this morning. Y'all kept me busy. So if we can have that 30 days.
So next water committee meeting is when?
We're going to have one next week. A call.
Okay.
Can I have a motion for 30-day extension?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion we extend for 30 days
That's hookup fee. right?
hookup fees.
Fine. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Now, is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. It's 30 days now.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Now, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of August 13th? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. Now, are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Horning?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain since I missed part of that.
Right, thank you. Ayes. Let the record show 6 ayes and 1 abstention. Payment of the invoices.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pay the invoices as presented.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Now, does anyone have any discussion concerning any invoice? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Hall?
Aye.
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 And aye. Thank you. Motion passes 7-0. Mr. Dalton, is there any unfinished business that we have to deal with? Okay, we'll go to reports. And Sam, first let me tell you, you up and walking around and back and with us, and hopefully everything's okay?
Well, I'll find out Thursday.
Well, let's hope so.
Still back up with fluid, and I gotta go back and have another CAT scan. They wanna cut a big hole in there this time and drain it again.
Are you still having headaches?
Yeah, still having headaches and stuff like that from it.
Well, you're in our prayers, you know
Well,
that.
thank you, I appreciate that. Hopefully, it won't be as bad. I said, just go right back through that same hole. It won't cost me as much. And he said, yeah, but it may not. Yeah. He said, yeah, but it may not drain it. But, I mean, he has a good sense of humor. He said, if I cut a great big hole in there and drain it, he said, I don't charge you to cut the hole in there. I said, I just charge you to put it back in, fix it back. I looked over to Arlene and I said, be sure you bring super glue that day. So, anyway.
Nothing to laugh about. I think we're smart to take it out.
Well, yeah, we gotta get it fixed, that's for sure. On our consolidated account balance, currently we have $43,081,000 in all of our accounts. In our general fund balance, we have $20,409,000. We still have that school salary payable on there of $1,329,000. That's be the end of this after August. That goes away with that August pay, school salaries. And we won't have that on there anymore. And as far as collections, we haven't sent our tax bills out yet, so really don't have much to talk about this morning. But anybody got any questions?
We will be back after 1 o'clock, right, for the work session?
Today, yeah.
Thank you.
Unless you want to do it now.
I think we'll save that one for 1, okay?
All right.
Sheriff? And I'm going to say, I hope you're back. You see, you all are the walking wounded back here, I tell you.
They are basically training me to rewalk.
Yeah, well, they're doing a good job so far.
So far, felt better than I have in probably 2 years. But it's got a ways to go. Just a few items. One's for Joe. So far, our trash collection detail has collected 7,100 pounds of trash. Okay. We had a complaint on 2 roads up in Black Lick District, and we sent a crew up there, walked 3 miles, and picked up 5 bags of trash. So that was basically a bust. But we did work the exit 60 area and got it all cleaned up. And we will be back Saturday, weather permitting. We have had some technical issues with the van. I believe those have, for the most part, been resolved, so we'll be back up and going as wide open as we can. They walked 6 miles Saturday. So they are, yeah, they will be on the frontage road this coming weekend, and time permitting, they will be traveling into Miller's Creek, checking for your beer can deposits. Maybe we can make some money off of that. I'll have to give them a junk dealer's license, but. This is just a couple of housekeeping details for the sheriff's office itself. Recently, we have lost 4 deputies, 3 to higher pay, 1 for another reason. We were only able to replace that with 1 certified law enforcement officer. So for the first time in about 5 years, we're going to have to send people to law enforcement academy, which has been a rarity for us. I don't know if it's a sign of increasing economics being better or what, but the majority have left for pay. We do have 2 out due to medical issues, and it's going to be long-term for a young man, be long-term. Right now, we were supposed to have 2 in the academy. After I offered employment to 1, the day before he was supposed to go to the academy, he backed out, which put me a year behind. We do have another one in the academy at this time. He will not graduate from the academy until the middle of December, and then he'll have another 2.5 months after that, almost 3, before we can put him in a car by himself. So it's quite a long process. But other than crime and answering calls, which with that kind of shortage that we're having, we can't hit every place what we need. So, and I beg your patience on that. If you have a special project that you like done, we'll get to it. We just can't get to it as quick as we could before. So, and I'm prepared for any questions or any requests for trash detail pickup.
Sheriff, I had a call from a former board member complimenting that the trash pickup on 52 North has sort of inspired people to start cleaning up their property.
We have noticed that.
All except one, and
Well,
but the general consensus that everybody's just tickled to death that how it's going. Little light comment, if you only got 6 bags, you would think the supervisor from Black Lick would have done that road.
It crossed my mind. Let's put it that way. It crossed my mind. But if y'all have any areas that have been identified to you now, we're still working the New River group. And I had them back in Barron Springs last time they were here, as well as 2152 North and 717, our scenic areas, and 52 South. And of course, as I drove up Route 11 this morning, there was a bag of trash had blown out of somebody's pickup truck while they were on the way to the dump station. Unless we see it, we'll never eliminate that. That's, chances of being in the right place at the right time to see that happen.
And a lot of times, they don't know it. I think sometimes they do, they just don't want to stop and pick up that mess.
I agree with you. Personally, I have lost stuff out of the trailer myself. One of them, $150 rather, Delco battery, and didn't realize it until about 6 miles later. I went back for it, but never could find it. I think somebody else found it before I did.
Yes, sir.
Mr. King, we have a dedication ceremony on September the 10th at Providence Park. Is there a chance that we could work on Pepper's Ferry and Kent's Lane, Gator Lane, and the entrance?
Kent's Lane we have hit and got a huge amount of trash off. We'll do it again. So you wanting Pepper's Ferry, Kent, and Gator. And that's prior to September 10th. What day is September 10th?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Is on a Tuesday, or night meeting day, yeah.
I'll put them in that area, and if I can get Gerald Dawkins up from the regional jail, I'll put him in the same area.
Kent, we should have somebody from the governor's office be there. Several delegates and everybody.
Of the three, because that's a pretty good distance, where would you emphasize, Kent's Lane and Gator Lane, or, because I don't know which way they're going to be coming in.
Hopefully they'll be coming down Pepper's Ferry.
And then out the backside on Kent's Lane. Okay. We will put them on it. Anyone else?
Anybody else?
Just one question, you were talking about losing 4 deputies.
Yes.
And I can't remember if you said all 4 to higher paying jobs or 3?
Three.
3 to higher paying jobs.
One, the other I can't discuss.
Right, well, but 3 to higher paying jobs in law enforcement?
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm not asking where, but is it in our geographic area?
Yes. It is. An appreciable raise.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We'll move to Board of Supervisors report, and we'll start with the Black Lake District.
Really don't have anything to report, but I do have one question. Mr. Dalton, yesterday, we talked a little bit about, I asked about the firefighter 1 training, the request from retreat. Do you have any information on that?
I do not.
Okay.
I said, we talked about it, asked if there was that.
Okay, so, well, when you find out, if you could let me know, so I know that Chief Evans had emailed me and asked, and I just need to get back to him. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. West Whitfield.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Fort Chisholm.
Nothing at this time.
Bed Mines.
I think I'll let Gene bring it in.
Well, he's next. He's all together, partnered on this one, huh? All right, Spiegel.
I've had 2 things that I've had people complain about. One is there's a man on Nixon Road that's called and wanting water. So I would ask that the water committee look into, which I think we're already kind of looking into it anyway, but the way he talked, he's been kind of promised water for 7 years and he hasn't gotten it. So it seems like it's something we need to look into. And the other thing.
Where is Nixon Road?
Excellent.
94 past Sheffey School on the right.
Okay.
It's on Old 94. The other thing that I had a complaint about, and I don't know if we need to contact VDOT about it or what, but it's over here on Sand Mountain as you go down the other side of it. There's a person filled in a ditch, and the water's backing up and washing out this man's yard. I mean, the way he talked is he doesn't have a problem with fixing it, but he just doesn't know what to do to fix it. And I don't know if VDOT needs to do something, or if we just need to send somebody over and look at it.
Got an address.
1816 Grayson Turnpike, Mr. and Mrs. Wolford. 1816. It's right across from Waste Industries.
The guy down the field fulfilled it.
Yep. And they put in they did kind of like I don't know who did it down here in Fort Chiswell, but they
Back to what?
the water coming under the road is through a 36-inch pipe, and evidently, according to him, they put a 24-inch pipe under where they filled in.
supervisor, the building inspector, the county engineer.
Okay. I appreciate that.
That's all that.
Well, you can't miss it. There's a huge telephone pole there that's about half washed out too now, so. Or not telephone pole, it's electric, I believe. I hope that got what Coy was talking about.
Nixon Lane.
That's it.
Ben, at large?
Mr. Dalton and myself attended the VDOT meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they are starting to make improvements on the overlap. They have the lights and the markers going around the curve at the rock quarry, which I noticed the other day that somebody done tore the guardrail down again, so hopefully they're slowing down. I come through there and I noticed the trucks were slowing down a little more than what they normally are. And their range of improvements they're going to make short-term, intermediate, and long-term. And I think Mr. Dalton is going to discuss some of that in his report. And the only other thing I have is on Veterans Day, November 11th, from 6:30 to 8:30, the 4 counties Boy Scouts are going to do a flag retirement ceremony. I think they have several flags that they're going to dispose of in the proper way. I think they said they probably would get 100 done, but they're going to do one ceremonial flag, that how they cut it up, and they're going to have a talk about, you know, the stripes, the stars, and how to retire a flag properly. So I invite everybody to come out and attend that on Veterans Day.
It's going to be at Withers Park.
Withers Park.
And there's still going to be a Veterans Day presentation
Yes.
earlier in the day for that also. Is that it, Ken?
Yes.
East Whitfield, one thing, I have a question from a lady who was concerned about water in Crockett, and I think she contacted a couple of the supervisors.
I talked to him last night.
I just like to make sure they get this before the water committee, so we can tell her one way or the other, and I appreciate that very much. All right, that concludes the supervisor reports. Faye, you were not on the agenda. Did you have anything? All right, so then we'll move to committee reports, and the first one I have is the budget committee.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, that's August 20th, 2013 meeting, the Budget Committee made the following recommendations. One, to amend and appropriate $539 to the Commissioner's Office budget for the purchase of DMV titling records.
Coming from a committee that doesn't need a second, now, any other discussion concerning that? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. It's a roll call vote item. Mr. Horning?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. Thank you, 7-0.
And number 2, to adopt Resolution 2013-09 electing to not participate in the Virginia Local Disability Program and to authorize participation in the VACORP for long-term disability coverage. And basically, this is for people to have disability coverage, but it's at a cost savings to the county.
So we have to adopt the resolution, so I have a motion.
That's only for employees hired after January the 1st.
Right, I'm sorry. Yeah.
All current employees are under the VRS disability program.
Okay.
It's only you people in the hybrid program.
All right, from here on out.
From, yeah.
All right, so I have a motion to pass Resolution 2013-09. Coming from committee, it would not require a second. Or any discussion concerning this resolution? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
And aye, 7-0. That concludes your report?
For the budget, yes it does.
All right, we'll move to fire and rescue.
The Fire and Rescue Committee met on August 19th and August 26th, 2013, made the following recommendations. One, to refurbish the old Speedwell fire truck and transfer it to the Max Meadows Fire Department.
Assume that is a motion from your committee?
Yes, it is.
All right. Is there a second? No, it doesn't need a second. It's coming from the committee again. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. All right, sir.
Number 2, as part of reorganization of rescue services for the county of Wythe, the committee recommends that the eastern end of the county be covered by Wythe County Rescue Squad, and that the Board of Supervisors and staff reallocate equipment needed for adequate service to this area.
Again, it's coming from a committee which will require no second. Is there any discussion concerning this? Yes, sir. Robert?
Is this to say that lead mine rescue squad could never come back?
This would basically eliminate the lead mines rescue squad, put everything under the control of the county, under the name Wythe County Rescue Squad.
I'm not too sure that would sit well with the citizens down on the eastern end of the county. I admit we let 2 or 3 come in there and ruin it. A service that has been there for 50 years. Now we're ready to throw them in the trash. I think we need to discuss this a little more. I know it's a committee report,
Well,
but it hasn't been brought in front of the whole board.
Mr. McRoberts, I will say this, I agree with you. Now, let me clarify that. I do think that probably at this point, the county needs to, kind of run the service, take over the service, set the protocol and, the membership and that sort of thing. But I do disagree with, and, was my discussion in the committee meeting that the name lead mines disappear, because the lead mines rescue squad has been, a positive force in that community for a long, long time. And I only ran into problems just recently. And I will tell you all that, I intend to vote, no on this, just simply because of the name. I don't object to the county, doing this, but I do object to the name of lead mines disappearing.
Mr. Chairman, since we've discussed this, feel obligated to, the committee chairman was in minority. We've studied this, worked on it for 9 hours in committee, which is much longer than most things take. Lead mines covers Fort Chiswell district, some of other districts, and certainly lead mines district. So far, the service has improved drastically. As far as the name, most of the folks in those 2 districts don't have a good association with the name. I admit 15 years ago it was a great organization. As far as the problems being recent, I don't agree with that either. These problems have been ongoing and the board has not dealt with them, and it become paramount that something had to be done. Now, as a board, our responsibility is to do what's best for the citizens and what's best for Wythe County, and that's the reason I vote that way.
I agree with you, Mr. Hale. I'm for doing the best for what the citizens do.
And I agree.
The service should be better down there, because you got paid personnel there now.
They did too then, Coy.
They had them during the daytime, and it was guardian.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could, I don't object to our reorganization efforts, to what we're planning, to do. I simply object to the name lead mines disappearing. I think it's necessary to take these measures. It's necessary to reorganize it so that, that those citizens do have, good coverage. But, again, my objection is not the structure, not the restructure, not the reorganization, not what we're planning to do. It's just simply the fact that the name Lead Mines Rescue would disappear.
All right, can I ask some points of information from the county administrator? Legality of the lead mines name is brought about simply because it's not as far as reorganized.
Actually not. We had people from the state having to explain it to us yesterday in a long session. It's a either or. I think there's a multitude of different ways as the county. And the other item that plays in is the bigger report that you're getting from fire services. How things could be organized. But it could be, I think you could reorganize it in lead mines. You could provide with county, you could change it all. The bottom line of what came out of it is the Board of Supervisors has the ability to assign areas in the county to different organizations who provide services. That's completely up to y'all. Those organizations have to meet certain criteria in the state of Virginia, the Corporation Commission, licensure, the Virginia Department of Health, etc. Currently, I don't believe what I heard that anybody has, organizations have changed in front of the corporation. We haven't asked for that. What we're doing, I think, is trying to look to the future, reorganize the whole group in a better format and set the protocols, as Mr. Hausman said, and the terms and conditions of what you have to do to remain an organization and to provide service to the county citizens and have that in a consistent manner that eventually we all get the same service and have it laid out in a manner that's struggling here with the proper words, but just
Everything is consistent. I agree with that 100%.
Three.
Mr. Chairman, I'm a supervisor at large, and I'm not a district I don't look at, so I'm looking at Wythe County. And as a Wythe County citizen, I think it's our responsibility, whatever the name is to fix the problem, reorganize, and do what's best for the citizens and get them the service that they deserve. We have a lot more work to do with this. I mean, it's not over. I mean, we need to get the vehicles back in service. We need to get adequate vehicles back in service. And if that means, for the time being, putting them under Wythe County's control and turn them over where they will have the equipment to give better coverage to the citizens in the eastern end of the county. I'm not objecting that in the future, if we reorganize the whole under a county license, if we go that route, is having Wythe County Rescue Squad Lead Mines Division. That will not do away with the name of lead mines. But for the time being, I'd like to see, us vote, pass this, get the vehicles back in service, and we still have a lot of work to do on this.
Without this motion, the other trucks can't run. Is that correct?
currently, they're licensed under lead mines rescue school. The board has to give us some directions to move those and write letters to the state of Virginia to allow those things whoever's running, their name has to be on, as the license. I mean, that's the issue.
Okay, so it could say Wythe County, but Lead Mine's name can still be there also, as long as we put Wythe County's name. Is that correct?
At the time being, I don't think that will work. You know, in the future, if we do a whole new relicensing structure, yes, it could be part of it then. But right now, it's going to have to be in Wythe County as far as being a licensed vehicle to run rescue calls.
And I think that was one of the issues, I thought got clearer and clearer yesterday, that there are certain requirements of what names to be on the truck, whose licensure is operating under the OMD, the officer of medical directives, that there's just certain things that they're pretty particular about building. And for us to move forward, we've got to ask for permission that happens. There's two alternatives, I guess, under that. We can either ask them to be turned into Wythe County Rescue, but what we were asking, I think, is to be come to Wythe County. And we lease those or whatever we can work out with the state of Virginia to make that happen.
Mr. Chairman, I know JD's there in the back. I assume that what we're voting on here would expand his organization. So, JD, would you mind, I don't know if this has been discussed, I assume it's been discussed with him. Would you kind of give some feedback as to how that would change, what your comfortability with this is?
Right. As of right now, we had plans to cover the area until December. We are hiring extra staff, so if it continues past December, it wouldn't be a problem to continue staffing down there. As far as the name goes, I know that that's an issue, and whatever direction the board takes, we'll go along with, because our ultimate goal is to provide the best service to the citizens. I don't know what the direction will be with the trucks, but I do know that we need trucks. We have 4 ambulances. We've sent one down there. It blew the airbags on one of those bumpy roads down there. We sent another one down there. It came back. It's out of alignment. So we have 2 trucks out of service right now. We have 2 trucks covering the entire 350 square mile coverage area. So whatever the resolution is in the long run, right now we need an immediate solution to get ambulances back to protect the citizens. I do know we've gotten feedback from several people that the response times have improved down there, and we're pleased to hear that. We're always open to feedback. But like I said, our goal is just to provide the service. Whatever the direction you take, we'll support.
So you need more people and more equipment.
So we've got the people right now, but we don't have the ambulances. We even have some volunteers that are willing to help us out in the area, but we don't have the ambulances to maintain it with 2.
Thank you, JD.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a question. You said volunteers.
We have some volunteers from our area that are willing to help us cover some of our volunteers. Now, when, at the direction.
How many volunteers do you expect to get out of Lead Mine?
I'm not sure. I've had several talk to me about coming back. We haven't went that direction yet until we get direction from the board of what we can accept. But we'd be glad to take them on as members of Wythe County Rescue Squad. To help us out there.
I really don't think you'll have to worry about it, really.
So, I know
I know them people.
I've had 4 people that
them
have
people.
asked about becoming members to run with us, but we've not went that direction yet.
In voting for this year, we're saying that we can never have a rescue squad on that end of the county?
That's not.
No, no.
No, sir. I think
You know-
right now, I feel better about voting for the motion because there's trucks out there that we need to help service this county. And they got Lead Mine's names on them anyway right now, but they'll be under offices of Wythe County, and may have Pink Wythe County on it somewhere. But the main thing to me is getting those trucks.
Well, I realize what
Well,
you're
can we
saying.
not make it like a satellite station?
You what?
Can lead mines not be like a satellite or an off branch of Wythe County?
Well, I mean,
Can you keep the lead mines name?
it's just like I
Or is
said,
that gonna be too
at the
complicated?
big picture, we still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And, and restructuring in this, if we may look at a countywide license and have Wythe County Rescue Squad lead mines. We put trucks at Byron Springs, Ivanhoe. You know, there's a lot of work to be done with this. But this right here, you know, it's not saying that there'll never be a lead mines rescue squad. It's just saying that we need the trucks, and to get them in service, this is what we're going to have to do for the time being. But we still have a lot of work to do on this.
Well, I think we got to focus on the response time. I mean,
Yeah.
if he needs the resources, we've got to get those resources to him because people's lives could be impacted.
Okay, if we're talking about expediency, there were three options. One, reorganize as lead mines. Two, reorganize under the county. Three, just start a whole new organization. Right now, the quickest thing, I think, to get everything back in service is to use the lead mines name, but put it under the county.
But then we have
There's no change in trucks, there's no repainting, there's no hiding anything, so as far as getting things back in service, quickly, if it's reorganized under, under that name, under the county, as far as I determined yesterday, or understood yesterday from speaking with the gentleman, it doesn't matter who runs them.
Well, that's not like what I heard. We talk about licensure, and there's two different kinds of licensure we're talking about. One is issued by the health department to have a rescue squad. I believe what he said, if it's reorganized as a county department, that we would have to go through a relicensure and have a medical director appointed. That's one of the good things about what we're proposing in the interim here, that it consolidates to where the medical director would be the same one they've got. It would help some standards of uniformity. And I'm not sure, Mr. Houseman, that option was thoroughly discussed yesterday. I think it could be, but we've got a motion on the table here approved by committee. I think it's for the good in the interim to get those trucks back in service, and I think you agree with that.
I do, but I don't think that the only way we can get them back in service is to say it's with County Rescue.
Let me tell you one thing else. I believe there's enough responsible people down there that are ready to start this back up. We haven't given them a chance. We give people a chance. So we just gonna pull the props out and say, adios. I'm not for that, never will be. I'm sorry.
Boy, I understand where you're coming from, but can you agree on the short term, we gotta get those trucks back on the road?
I agree, we got it covered pretty good now, looks like to me, ain't it?
Well, he said he's down.
But he's down to two
Four
down two trucks.
Can we,
And I don't wanna be the third caller in when he's on that two trucks.
I understand that.
So what I would like to suggest is, I don't know if the committee would accept this, but that we put a time limit for the next 3 months. This recommendation, and then we iron these things out. And it's gonna take time, but we can get the trucks back on soon. We'll do this recommendation within for the next 3 months. Is that suitable to everybody?
that's kind of what I was
Obviously,
thinking.
y'all
was,
are
can we-
engraved over there. Let's work on this side.
That's what I was kind of thinking, was, I mean, can't we put a time limit that if we reorganize the Lead Mines Rescue Squad, that these trucks go back to Lead Mines Rescue Squad? Can that be done?
It's a process. That's,
It's a complicated process.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
you know, we could have done all the fire departments in the county the time that,
I can understand that. You're dealing with a whole different animal here than we did fire departments. I understand that.
licensure and OMB protocols.
But Mr.
You may be different organization, but you're dealing with the same people, with county people.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask Mr. Dalton a question?
Yes, sir.
Please. Mr. Dalton, and correct me if I'm wrong, but right now, to reorganize us as lead mine, even if it's under the county banner, I mean, we set the protocol and everything like that. What it takes is a letter saying that we're going to, the county is going to have lead mines up and running. And then, of course, they'll have to come and inspect.
I think what I heard is that we can authorize them and do that. But if it's under the county banner, we've got to be like, the licensure's got to come to us. That's going to take 6 months. Or it's a period of time. I think what the options were was just reorganize and let them stay under that banner. You dictate protocol. Who you appoint the captain, chief, whatever. Their licensure, their SEC corporation is still there, their nonprofit status is still there. You've got to work out their OMD to see if he's still on board with the directives. The other option, I guess, was to, even at that, the way I understood it, that's going to take us some time to do that. I mean, it's going to do the application process, get that out.
I'm sorry, what application process?
Can you remember?
I
mean,
I understand.
It's not an overnight.
But if we were able to run the trucks under the lead mines name, as long as we have qualified people running them, it doesn't matter if they come from Retreat or Wytheville or Carroll County or whoever. If we have certified people, EMTs, ALS, EVOC, if we have those people running it and using it, it doesn't matter where the people come from. Is that not right?
I believe
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if this is a burden to vote on at this time, could we go into a work session and maybe craft a compromise that would make Coy feel better and the committee chairman feel better? If we can't do that, let's vote on it.
Personally, I still haven't got a clear answer in my mind why I can't ask for a time limit. I understand, we've got a report coming out too, that just coincide with, and make sure that we're not doing something that the report's gonna say a little bit different. But we gotta get those trucks back on the road. That's my ultimate goal, get those trucks back on the road. And I will vote to get those trucks back on the road if it takes this, and I will do that. But on the other hand, I understand where Mr. McRoberts and Mr. Housen are coming from. So what I'm saying is, just say this for a time limit till we get, put a 3-month time limit on it. That time the committee can meet, by that time the report should be back. We can realign everything with what the report says. If we want to follow the directions of the report, there's no law that we have to.
Well, Mr. Chairman, the report is back, and we're going to ask for a work session on September the 3rd, if there's, but we were going to do that, a little bit later.
And I want to reiterate that the board at any time can reinstate and reorganize the lead mine rescue squad at any time. I mean, it doesn't stop us from doing that. This doesn't.
Well, that better clarifies it for me. If the board can say, yeah, they can reorganize. But to just shut the door on, no.
I mean,
Well, basically, we've already just shut the door on them.
Yeah, you shut
I
the
mean,
door on 'em, but
what
you
I don't
haven't given them
understand,
a
JD
chance.
might be able to answer is, can you take a lead mines rescue squad and run a call?
It has to be licensed, it has to be licensed, it has to have Wythe County, they want it somewhere to be licensed.
Somewhere.
If Jay were to run it, it would have to have rural trade emergency services on it somewhere to be licensed.
Now, excuse me, but JD, let me ask, if lead mines were up and running right now, you mean to tell me that you personally couldn't go down and run a call on that truck?
If they were open, operating under their license, lead mine rescue squad license, and they were in place, then yes, we could send providers to run on the truck. But
Okay.
that is no longer in place.
That's what yeah.
but they don't have a license right now.
Still in place? Through the EMS account or the office of EMS?
I don't think so.
I didn't hear the question,
Is
sir.
their license still in place?
I don't know.
Because if it is, it's as simple as being signed off by their OMB. They have the same OMB as rural retreat. If Wythe County's people were signed off under that OMB as well, then there you go. And then that can still run with their people on it, as long as they have the insurance and all that.
Okay.
The problem, Jay, is they don't have anybody.
No, I mean,
They were dissolved.
I know that, I meant, yeah.
With county, right,
Yeah.
yeah, with county, yeah, I agree. The resolution dissolved the group. I think that's what the county term.
Dalton, I'm going to ask a little parliamentary procedure question here. I believe if we pass this vote by a margin of 1 or more, then this would go in effect immediately, but any one of those people who voted for it could bring it back before the committee and only require a 2/3 vote to change it. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, gentlemen, I'm going to throw that out to you. We need to pass this now. I personally tell you, once we get this solved, I'll bring it back up before you. I will step down from the chair and ask to be brought back up. But right now, I feel like the biggest thing we got to do is get those trucks on the road. And if this is what gets those trucks on the road, we got to do it today and we got to do it now. So is there any other discussion?
I agree, but this is not the only thing to do to get the trucks on the road. But I'll go ahead and call for the question.
Question's been called for. We will take a roll call vote. Mr. Collins?
Aye.
No.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
And aye. Motion passes 5-2.
We have one other motion, Mr. Chairman, and that is to pay the necessary operational invoices and bills incurred by the former Lead Mines Rescue Squad organization. What happened in this was that when we took over, we froze the accounts, and there are bills that are starting to come due, and we need to pay them, but we can't pay them out of those accounts because the accounts are frozen right now. Now, what we will do is, after we pay those and the accounts are unfrozen, look to reimburse in whatever way is legal and necessary, those bills that we paid.
Okay, sounds reasonable?
Mr. Dalton is.
Dalton.
It didn't get written there, but I guess as part of that, we discussed asking the county to turn over to whatever they require. Let's go see the records over there
Yes.
at the bank, and also.
Well, and I think that may have been covered in, was it the resolution or the motion that we made last time that we authorized the county administrator and county attorney to do whatever is necessary? All right, so that is our motion, Mr. Chairman.
Everyone understand the motion? Any discussion? Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 And aye. Motion passes 7-0.
And, Mr. Chairman, that's all from,
Fire and rescue?
mhm.
All right. If Next, we'll move to county administrator, but let's take a 5-minute break. I think it's good. Maybe we can find some tea and something, or I'll build a fire.
I was going to look for socks. Yeah, right.
Okay. We'll come back into order, and we're going to change the agenda a little bit and hear from our superintendent of schools, Dr. Lee Brannon. Dr. Brannon, welcome.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Chair, board members, Mr. Dalton. Just wanted to come in and talk about a few items this morning, and plus to give you just a little update. School has begun, and we're off and running. I'm sure you've noticed school buses, and there's several announcements and things going out about school starting, and we're into the 5th day, so things are off and running. We're about 4 or 5 days later than we normally start or usually start. Looking at the calendar and the way things fell this year, there were some changes the calendar committee recommended, so we're a couple days later than most of the surrounding counties, but still within a week of what most people started. So our enrollment through the first part of the school year, the first 5 days, and I really don't get too excited until after 10 days and after Labor Day, because there's all types, and those of you who've been around education and heard people talk about these for a long time. But I am concerned, and it's something, a trend that we talked about, I remember last year, about the enrollment of our school children and how we've seen a spike in 2009-10, and in 10-11, 11-12, and in 12-13, we've seen a gradual decline, not a big decline, but not a trend that a lot of other school systems are seeing. But as of this date, we are showing 4173 as enrollment, which is down about 30 from what we projected as far as our budget is concerned. And we have 58 no-shows that we'll be checking on. The state code requires us to report to our truancy officer, and they have to go out and check on each and every one of them. So some of them probably are legitimate transfers. Some of them have probably moved away and just didn't notify the school whenever they did so. But, you know, it's a trend that we're seeing a little bit, a decline in enrollment. But we hope once all the no-shows are rounded up, and there's some that just won't come, and we have to go find them. That's the honest truth. There'll probably be about 20 out of those that they didn't know school started. These are the excuses we hear. They didn't know school started, you know, even though everybody else knew, they didn't know. And then some that have problems or sickness in the families, and sometimes kids are relied upon to help out around the house. So we really have to go check on quite a few and make sure that we get them rounded up, and if they're under the age of 18, and make sure they come into the school system. So, but like I said, when I come back later on and do another report, hopefully I can report to you that we rounded up most of those students, and we had some students come in. And after Labor Day, for whatever reason, I don't know, it's been traditionally, but it just seems like after Labor Day, if somebody's moving into the area or they feel like that school doesn't start till Labor Day. So hopefully that enrollment will come up. But at this time, we are 30 students short of our budgeted amount, and we're about, that would be about 5 less than we had last year. So, you know, concerned, but not overly concerned at this time until later on during the school year. And of course, when you start at the number at this time of year, your percentages of attendance are averaged throughout the year, and March 30th, 31st is when the actual payment deadline for the state is. So if you start with 4203 or 4210, the likelihood of you still having that many when March 31st rolls around is not good. You usually have about a 4 to 8% reduction between now and then. So, you know, that's one of the things that's going on. Testing and assessment, of course, if you saw the newspapers recently, we're not really ready to report fully on those types of things, but once the state releases things, it becomes public knowledge on schools' test scores and assessment. You know, we've had some new tests throughout the county, the state. Once we started reaching all the accreditation standards and getting to that point, a new standard test was put into place in different subject areas, math 2 years ago, science and social studies last year. And we're pleased that we're at the state average or above the state average in some areas, but we do have some priority areas that we're going to be focusing on. And if you just look at those test scores and compare, you can pretty well tell where they're at. So we have a great focus on that, and we've spoken to the staff and to the administration on those areas we want to focus on to make sure our kids reach those assessment levels. There's lots of communication going on around the state about assessment. If you've heard the rule of 34, now a student, when they enter the 3rd grade, they take 34 tests from the time they're in the 3rd grade till they get to become seniors in school. And for a lot of people, that's an exorbitant amount of testing to judge whether or not the student growth is being measured each and every year as they go through the public school system. So there's a lot of chatter at the state level and at the national level about, all the requirements that are put upon children now as far as assessment and testing. That there was a lot of ways that you can assess a kid and see student growth without multiple tests being given. There was legislation introduced last year to try to reduce the number of tests at the elementary school. It failed. And so, just want you to know that we're keeping an eye on all those types of things. We recently had the State Board of Education president visit Wythe County. He is Foster from Arlington, and he's the state board president. He made a visit to Region 7. He had a 2-hour forum in Abingdon, and then he stayed in Wythe County, and he visited Rural Retreat Elementary School and toured our schools this week. So that was last week, that was a good opportunity for us to host the State Board of Education chairperson and have them down here to this area and show them what we're doing education-wise in Wythe County. So we've had a lot of good things going on through that process. Just wanted to also let you know, I heard you all approved the disability program. The school board also did the exact same thing. We denied the VRS. We turned in that we would not be participating in the short-term disability policy offered through the VRS, and we're now in negotiations with VACOR in doing the same type of short-term disability. So they've already approved the resolution. The school board did. We sent it in. It's probably the quickest I've ever heard back from the VRS. They approved our resolution that we had withdrawn from the disability program. I got an email back within 48 hours, and I've never had a response like that. Once we mailed the resolution in, that school board withdrew from that. So we're on board with you all, and Mr. Dalton and I discussed these options in the future, and we both looked at what would help our organization the best, and we've got our own personal opinions, so, but feel like that this is the best option for us as well. It's a less cost, guaranteed for 3 years, and the school board is on the same page with you all as far as the short-term disability for the hybrid VRS people who are hired after January 1st, 2014. Some other items to discuss, and then we'll finish up with construction. As you know, Jackson Elementary is still experiencing water issues with the well water. Dr. Poole has had to receive a letter from Virginia Department of Health drinking water section. I think they have a copy of that, Mr. Dalton, and in your packets there, and you've read that. And what that means is that Dr. Poole has to work with the administration out there. We have to post that water has a sodium content level that they feel like could be detrimental to someone with an issue that would be related to salt intake in their body. I'm not going to personally comment on that, so, but I do know that we're making plans in the future for public water hookup at Jackson. Mr. Dalton, is that?
We should have that running. The water committee has talked about it extensively. We're going to proceed with that. It should be up this time next year, hopefully. Solve that problem.
Yeah, so it's a reoccurring problem. We've had other issues besides the sodium content as well with the system that we have in place out there, so we appreciate the movement to try to get that taken care of and make sure that we get Jackson hooked up to county water in the future. But we are posting that, so if you go out there, there's not a problem, okay? If you see those postings and you're at Jackson, it's simply a requirement that Dr. Poole has to work through the drinking water specialist within the state to make sure that we post that so people are aware of it when they come inside the building. Also, I have 2 requests to make today. One is to request the carryover money that we had from the 2012-2013 budget to be carried over into our budget for the 13-14 school year. There are 2 sections to that. In the general operating fund, we had $16,045.14 to carry. I would like to request that we carry over, and then in our cafeteria. Okay.
We'll take care of those as we go.
Okay. Okay.
If I can have a motion that we
have a carryover of $16,045.14. We got to get to the school board carryover from last year to this 13-14 fiscal year. Second? Any discussion? All right, Mr. Horny? Aye. And aye. Okay, now you can go to the other one.
Thank you. And then also our cafeteria fund, which we are asking for a carryover. It's a base fund that we have that we carry over each year of $83,386.68, which is used to purchase cafeteria equipment, cafeteria, things that go in the cafeteria. We are getting ready to have some expenditures out of that, so we don't feel like that is going to be carried over that much in the future, but we were sort of planning for some renovations at some schools where we need to purchase cafeteria equipment. And what this allowed by prudent operations through the cafeteria is to be able to take that out of the budget for the renovations and be able to use cafeteria funding for that. So I'm making the request that you approve the $83,386.68 in the cafeteria fund.
Can I have a motion?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? After I vote, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
All right. Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And aye. Cafeteria funds, I know everybody's talking about the healthy meals now and saying, how did y'all turn out for the year? Did it hurt you a lot, or did it come out?
Better than expected, because we had to meet certain requirements to receive an additional 6 cents reimbursement for each meal.
Uh-huh.
You have to have menus certified through the state. We met all the requirements, and we actually picked up additional reimbursement from the months of April, May, and June. So that, at the end of the day, depends on who you talk to. I mean, some people obviously like more fresh fruit and vegetables, so there's some increase and some decrease depending upon the student.
Well, you gave me a good politician's answer, better than expected. What was expected? Were you up or down?
I thought we would be down, but
But
we
you're not
actually,
even.
I thought we wouldn't be as up as much as we had been in the past, but I was expecting somewhere in the neighborhood of about 40, 45, and it ended up being 83.
I think this will be a gradual thing, though.
We do too. And I think I reported to you last year that we saw plate count lunches down to begin with, but those gradually, and they were down 10 to 15% to start with, but those gradually reduced, throughout the year.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. The other item that you have, we have a required budget that we have to publish and place on our website, the per pupil expenditures, so I'm not going to read all those numbers to you. You can see what our per pupil expenditure is, and if you have any questions about that, certainly I'll address them at this time, or you can contact me.
Thank you.
Okay. The last thing is construction. Construction is going full steam at Sheffield Elementary School and Rural Retreat Middle School, and I use that term loosely at Rural Retreat Middle School, but we feel like that construction is full steam there now. I'm going to let Dr. Poole sort of give you a brief overview of what all we've seen over the last 2 months that we've seen. If you remember now, we did get started about 3.5 to 4 weeks late. The whole projection was to start June 1st. But because of some negotiating that we had to do with the contracts and the amount of money that we had, it took about 3.5 to 4 weeks to get through all those before the contracts were signed. And I'm going to let Dr. Poole just briefly give you an update on each one of the schools, and then we'll answer any questions that you might have.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Dalton, members of the board, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to present information to you pertinent to the construction projects that we have currently taking place in Wythe County. With Rural Retreat Middle School, Sheffield Elementary, we have set the construction projects up in phases so we can allow students to occupy the building safely and make sure the construction continues at a good rate. The general contractor, subcontractors have been very willing to work with us on our schedule to accommodate our needs, and we reciprocate, allowing them access at varying hours depending upon what they have going on in each phase of the construction. Phase 1 of the project at Sheffield Elementary consisted of the elementary classrooms on the, I guess it would be the north side of the building closest to the playground. Those were enclosed. Walls are up, painted. HVAC systems are in. They hope to be laying tile this week in those areas and have students back in those sections after Labor Day. It's been a very quick turnaround. The administrative area had it ready for them to move into where they could run the building from the administrative office. They were in that room first day of school, which to me was amazing considering the turnaround time that they had. Canopy is well underway. They're replacing decking on the canopy this week. Concrete has been poured under a section of the canopy to allow access to the building. Access points at Sheffey are limited, so that was a priority to make sure students, parents could get into the building safely from the bus loop and the upper parking lot. They broke ground, started digging footers, pouring footers at Sheffey for the gym addition last week, and that has continued this week. So they've made great progress at Sheffey over the course of the summer. Next phase at Sheffey will consist of going into the old second and third grade classrooms, the other open area that will allow them to continue to work during the day because they are sectioned off. There's access from the outside to those rooms so they don't interrupt the school day. Once they get those areas finished, they will go to night work. There's no other way to accommodate construction during the day in the long hallway that goes to the cafeteria. So they will go to night work until summer of next year. Right now, the students are being housed in the gym temporarily. Some classrooms are in the other area, open area classrooms, second, third grade. They'll come out, move to a new area that has been basically redone. So they are excited. At Rural Retreat Elementary, a little easier to cordon off areas because of the layout of the building. The administrative area and sixth grade hallway, what is currently under construction right now. The HVAC system at Rural Retreat is a little more complex, so you have a lot of piping. It's a four-pipe system similar to what we have in other buildings. Sheffey is not a four-pipe system, so there's a little more work that goes on above the ceiling grid before we can move in. At Rural Retreat Elementary or Rural Retreat Middle, the students have been relocated. 2 sixth grade classrooms are on the upper hallway and 2 on the lower, and the office has been temporarily moved to an old computer lab. Both schools still have computer access via mobile laboratories and access to the high school in the case of Rural Retreat Middle and the computer lab at Sheffey, so they have multiple points for technology. At Rural Retreat Middle, the canopy, the main steel or the structure has been set. They're doing the welding today, and we'll move to laying the block and brick around those columns hopefully later this week. The sheetrock, all the sheetrock work is basically being finished up in that lower hallway. They will be putting a ceiling grid in hopefully next week and move from there. The HVAC, plumbing, et cetera, they've been moving at a different areas. At Rural Retreat Middle School, they've done some night work and evening work to allow hookup to the lower end. Because of the interconnectivity of the system between the high school and the middle school, we have to shut the AC down in the high school in order to put the chiller in, tie everything back together. A little different setup there than it is at Sheffey. But overall, both projects have moved along at a pretty good rate. As Dr. Brandon alluded to, Sheffey was actually a little bit quicker, but they had to have the access. Rural Retreat, you have different means to get into the building, so it wasn't as pressing. So.
If you have any advice for a grandfather who have 2 granddaughters to come home and whine about it.
Tell them what the future's going to be, right? I always got to see the big picture.
I do. I tell them
I
that.
sent Dr. Poole to the high school and tell them they had to cut their air conditioning off so that we could hook up the heat for the middle school. So I didn't go to that meeting. I said.
Actually, the only one that really whined about that was the principal.
I can see that.
And certainly we want to invite, you all at present times. There's hard hats available at the construction sites if you do want to do that. Take the school board there one time as a group before the phase is finished, and after we finish phase 1 at each one of the schools, that's when we'll schedule the next visit for them.
Of course, they can go by individually, so, Mr. Chair, if there's any time that you all want to or have a desire to go as a group, please do something.
Well,
Mr. Dalton know
I think Mr. Dalton and I talked about a field trip. It seems like we don't have the time yet, but we can work one in. I think it'd be good for us to see where you are, and all of us have seen what it looked like, so.
You're invited at any time. We will want to go whenever you all are.
Okay.
I think everyone will be pleased with the end product. Very nice facilities, and we certainly appreciate it.
Okay.
A lot of different changes at Sheffey.
A little different.
How's the gym coming along? Are they working on it too, along with the school?
Yes, there was an issue as far as the grade, making sure they balanced the dirt so they didn't have to bring in a lot of fill in order to bring the pad up. So they ended up dropping the level about 6 inches. We had to ensure that all the drain lines still hit. So there's a little bit of holdup on that. Basically, at the end of the day, all you will notice is an additional step leading down to the gym from the main building. But they did dig footers last week, and they're pouring those in sections this week as the inspection goes. Those should start going up pretty soon. And of course, they've had a lot of water. So it does affect the concrete somewhat.
Are you serving as clerk of the works on both of these jobs, or?
Yes, sir.
Well, good luck to you. I know that's a headache. Thank you all very much. Appreciate you coming. Ms. Krieger, we appreciate you coming with them.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay. We will move back to the county administrator's report. Mr. Dalton?
Mr. Chairman, the first item we have is a draft proposal for the study of Mountain Empire Airport. Received this, we have not got together since that time with the 3 other managers and Mr. Hale. Study itself is a proposal. Includes the potential, I assume, for this person to manage the airport. We're still in that, evaluation process. Next item is a letter from Air Medcare, commonly referred to as WINGS. I did invite Mr. Monday over. I'd like to request that we invite him to a joint meeting in September. Let everybody hear his presentation, what it costs. It surprised me that we do have some Wythe Countyans that pay the monthly membership fee of $65.
I thought this is an annual membership fee. The Wings Fire Rescue annual membership fee is $65
That's if
for the
the
entire.
county does it for everybody.
Do what?
That's if you do it for everybody in the county, the probability.
Oh, I didn't understand. I didn't read it that way. I'm sorry. So if we did it for everybody.
The probability of all of us being flown out, they have a statistical analysis of how many potential flights they have in the county.
Yeah.
And according to his stats, it currently could be anywhere from $18,000 to $20-some thousand for a flight. We have 2 people here in the Wythe who's been flown out several times. They're members. Probably save them $60,000 or so. But I think it's an interesting concept. But the cost of each flight are pretty high. So if that'd be okay, we'll add that to the agenda for September.
I think it's a good idea.
July the 26th, we received College of William and Mary, the Center for Archaeological Research, all the final products for the historical survey that was done. Anybody would like a copy of that, either observe it over the Preservation Center or your documents. Next item is the DML VACO AEP Steering Committee invoice for legal services. I request that be referred to the Budget Committee.
Okay. I'll so do that. Our Budget Committee to meet and report at its next available meeting after that meeting.
The next is a copy of the Children to Play request. If anybody wants this VDOT that has to be a local initiative. VDOT will direct it, charge them for it, but they need the money up front.
Corey, you brought this up. Do you have any questions about it or anything?
Is that to say the county can't have their own signs made up, put up, or we're gonna have to buy theirs for $800?
It doesn't mean you can. It's got to meet all the national standards, the right colors. You've got to have a permit. Then you've got to maintain.
Yeah, I'll probably tell them the price is scare them to death, so that's probably the end of it.
$850 a sign, that's kind of high.
Yeah.
Cheaper to keep the kids out of the road.
Yeah, build a fence maybe, I don't know.
But that's a subject that comes up pretty frequently. We get calls about it. I'm sure you guys do too. You've got the agreement with the sector.
Okay.
Next to last item, last on the agenda anyway, is the memorandum from Mal Rogers for the SIDS. We need to update that SIDS list. If that can be referred to the Budget Committee or Economic Development Committee, either one.
Well, I want to refer to economic development. Budget's being bombarded, we'll take some of that pressure off of you.
Great.
Finally, not on the agenda is we met, or Mr. Hale and I met, since most of the projects, or a couple of the projects down his way with the VDOT yesterday about revenue sharing. We've got some work to do on revenue sharing to get some questions answered down at the county attorney. We need your assistance on Fairwall, where it's a 50-foot right-of-way dedicated or not dedicated. Connors Valley, Mr. Hale is going to meet with the property owners about right-of-way. And we're proceeding with a advertisement on a direct route in Progress Park for an engineering services. I assume that our Economic Development Committee will be interviewing those prospective people when we get those in. And we also discussed Johnny Lane yesterday. Gene worked beside Ray about the water line. They just went to add this week, which is like a 4-month delay. However, they anticipate, not counting weather days, that they will be finished July the 1st of 2014, which means that our water project on Johnny Lane will be delayed until sometime in that time frame. The good portion of Johnny Lane is it's longer than what we show on the in our 6-year plan. They estimated and extended it back. It's just a few hundred 400 feet short of the S curves, if everybody knows where those are at. So originally it was stopping at right past the first group of houses. And lastly, we continue our meetings with VDOT concerning the improvements and study, ongoing study on the overlap section. Mr. Reeves talked about earlier. You will see some projects. As a matter of fact, one of the first things, the signs, some of the roughest road in Virginia was repaved this past month down next to exit A. You can actually drive on the interstate down there now. So. And they will be having the first section, I think, of improvements on the ramp advertised here in the next few days. And Mr. Russell indicated that everything's working pretty great. If y'all email your request to him, that he tries to take care of those within a week. He said he appreciated all those. That's the reason he's not here today, but if you'll just email, continue emailing citizens and complaints, they will address them as they get. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. County Attorney?
I don't have anything to report this time.
Okay. We'll move to new business, and the first item on new business is the consent calendar. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve consent calendar.
Is there a second?
I second.
Now, is there anything on the consent calendar anyone would like to discuss? Seeing none, I'll have to call for a vote. Mr. Horny? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And aye. Thank you. The Everbridge Alert System. Mr. Dalton, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
As you know, we've looked at citizens notification system. After we looked at Code Red, here's a hard copy for everybody. Everbridge. The state of Virginia came back in under the Virginia Information Technology and received a quote under a state contract price for a citizens notification system. A group of staff attended a presentation at New River Community College last, maybe it's this month, August. Pricing for this Everbridge is, I think, since it's a better system at a cheaper cost. And we're going to also request that this be placed on the joint meeting agenda in September. Hopefully we'll have an advisory, we had an advisory board meeting yesterday for 911 that they saw a webinar on this. You guys would like a webinar to look at it? They arrange that too.
Does this quote in here of $8,344.05 include your fee?
It does. And that's a quote based off of the state of Virginia's request for proposal based off of the number of people. That can actually be modified and reduced a little bit from what we understand.
What was the consumer focus code reading?
Without the local message system, it was 13,000. If you added the unlimited, it was in the $15,000 to $17,000 range. This version is the unlimited. We can target areas. If Gene's bus route or a bridge is out, you can send a message to that effect. Or if today's going to be a snow route, you can.
These people kind of concentrate on local government.
They do. It just seems that, based off the presentation, probably better, gives us more service. And actually, I think the negotiations, the discussions we had at the presentation, you could actually, the town of Wythe will send out messages on this, or the town for who we sign up as administrator. So if the trash are out in the rural retreat, holiday, they can send a message in. So it's
So roughly 29,000 people in this county, right?
yes.
So how much is that per person? You got your calculator over?
Less than 30 cents.
30 cents? Me like a good buy, yeah, very good buy. Save a life, maybe more. So your suggestion we bring this up before the town and
I think it's a sort of a joint decision. We've got an advisory board. I believe the advisory board, the two town managers, and the police chief. Sheriff, did you get to the advisory meeting this week? Yes. Okay. I believe it is the advisory board will recommend this system.
So we'll just wait till you all have your meeting and make a recommendation.
They had it, undoubtedly, Sheriff, and I didn't vote.
I was agreed on it, I agree with that.
Okay.
So they've already endorsed it?
I do not know that. But I didn't get the meeting yesterday. We were talking rescue squad. But I would assume they will.
So that'll come back under old business?
Yes.
Next meeting. Okay, thank you. Bruce, you want to tell us anything about your RFP on government and school financial management system?
It's about ready to go out the door.
But like comments and also your approval to incorporate whatever comments and send it out the door with the request.
This is part of the RFP, the second part, which is a listing of questions for each of the areas. Do you support double entry accounting? Just a list of various things that each group wanted to have within their module. That would have doubled the size of this. But that is the second piece
phase
of this. And it's just a list of questions, and the vendor is asked to respond yes, no, maybe, and they could add a comment in there.
Does
So
this take any action
front-
today?
this is the-
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Bruce. I apologize.
This is the front boilerplate, the heart of the RFP.
I think we had long discussions in the budget meeting. The reason I put this in here after getting it from Bruce, we'd like a consensus or a board approval to put this out on the street because it's a long-term big expenditure.
Is there a motion that we move forward?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Mr. Tony?
Aye.
Yeah, aye. Thank you. Progress part on September the
Yeah, lot 24.
Hopefully everyone's received at least an invitation to that day. Mr. Daniel, you've been asked to do some comments.
Say something. I say, see, Mr. Housen, I told you we could build it.
Do what?
I said, I'm going to say, see, Mr. Housen, I told you we could build it. And you're going to say, yeah, but you ain't got anything on it yet.
Oh, yeah, it's just that I'm waiting for that part, if we build it, they will come.
Hey, it worked in the movies.
Yeah, hate to tell you, you're not Kevin Costner.
Now you tell me.
So everybody should be getting an agenda here, hopefully next week. Parking arrangements. Second.
Okay. Is there any other business before we go into a closed meeting?
We do. On your desk, you have a govdeals.com vehicle auction report. Three actions you need to do. Yes. Declare the vehicle surplus. 2, accept the prices. 3, amend the appropriate the $19,182.43 back to the sheriff's department to purchase a vehicle.
I'm sorry, sir, I was finding my gov deals with here, I just now found it.
You need a motion to accept this?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
For $22,162.43?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second? All right. Any discussion? Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. Now, what was the second thing?
Second thing is to amend and appropriate $19,182.43. Just make it $19,183 for the sheriff's line item for vehicles.
Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we amend and appropriate back to the Sheriff's Department $19,183.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it has been seconded. Any discussion? Okay, we will vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
And aye. Thank you.
And lastly, since Beal declared that surplus, I would ask that that be added back into the budget for maintenance of other vehicles.
I would make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
And aye. Thank you. All right, we'll entertain a motion now to go into closed session to discuss personnel matters.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors convene in closed session to discuss the following as permitted by the Virginia Code, Section 2.2-3711A1, personnel.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, has been moved and seconded. We go into closed session to discuss personnel. I'll take a roll call vote that you are willing to go in. Mr. Hall?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye. All right, gentlemen, we are in closed session. Turn off your mics and we'll adjourn to the back room.
But, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we come out of closed session.
Okay, I have a motion to come out of closed session. Do I have a second? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Now, Mr., I need a resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the following resolution for certification in closed meeting, whereas the County Board of Supervisors is convening a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires certification by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors as such a meeting is conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification resolution applies. And two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors.
Is there a second to the certification?
Second.
It's been moved and certified. Now we'll take a certification vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution has been certified 7-0. Thank you. Is there any more business to come before the board?
The Fire and Rescue Committee requested a work session with the board, and we would like to look at September the 3rd.
September the 3rd.
Tuesday, September the 3rd, day after
Labor Day? What time and how long?
I don't know, and I don't know. Gene, what time can you be here?
9:30.
I can
to be here by 9.
Okay, well, let's go 9, and you've got to be out here at 2?
Yeah, 2:15.
Okay. All right, can we just start it at 9, and I,
No later than 2. We'll stop if we have to.
okay.
I didn't mean to stop you, but was that what you were going to say?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Gary's your mic on?
Okay. We don't really need a motion for that, I don't believe. I can just ask the board to come in for a work session, right? We don't need a motion for that. So the board will,
Recess today's meeting.
huh?
We'll recess today's meeting.
Yeah, because, that's right, let's recess. Okay. I can do that. We will, at the end of this meeting, recess. Well, actually, I'll have to recess this after the work session. Yeah, okay. All right, is there any other business come before the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we amend and appropriate $2,547 to professional services.
Okay. Is there a second?
In the finance department.
Yeah.
In the finance.
I'll second that.
All right, been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
And aye, motion passes 7-0. Any other motions or anything to come before the board before we recess for a work session at 1:30? Seeing none, then I'll say we are recessed until 1:30 this afternoon. Thank you.